Hello and welcome back to another brand new unscripted review where in today's video I'm going to be reviewing Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny. Okay, so I just finished my rewatch of this film because I hadn't seen it in quite a while, and I'm actually even wearing a Tenacious D t-shirt that I bought when I went to go see them live 3 years ago, a month before the pandemic and all of that. So yeah, Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny is probably one of the greatest musicals out there. And yeah, it technically counts as a musical because there's a new song almost right away after one finishes. Like in the beginning, we get Kickapoo, which is the opening song, and then it goes into like after Kickapoo ends, then we immediately go into Classico. I'm probably butchering that, and then there's a whole bunch of other amazing songs in here that some of them just take place right after another, like the Sasquatch song. As soon as that one ends, we get Storm the Gate, when JB is trying to break into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I'm jumping ahead of myself, but yeah, this is, in my opinion, one of the best musicals out there, and it's very funny and it's very slept upon. Like when it came out in 2006, it was made on a budget of $20 million, and it only made like 13 million in the box office. But thankfully, through DVD sales, it came a cult classic, and the amount of actual stars that are in this is amazing to think. When you're scrolling through the IMDb of who's in it. So what is Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny? Let me start there before I get into anything else. Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny is a dramatic retelling of how Jack Black and Kyle Gass formed Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny. Well, not Pick of Destiny, but Tenacious D, the band itself. And it's very funny. There's a lot of jokes. Hell, it even calls back to the TV show that they actually had, because they did have a TV show. But anyway, as a kid, young Jables is he grew up in a really religious family, and he obviously was massive into the heavy metal era, the 80s era of rock. Bands like Dio, AC/DC, Black Sabbath, The Who, you name it. Young Jables was probably into it, and it starts off with the song Kickapoo, and immediately afterwards, after he gets the belt from his father, and his father rips down all of his music posters, bar one, he then takes what little money he has and escapes to Los Angeles, to Hollywood. Or as Dio, yes, they actually got the Dio to sing a part in this, the City of Fallen Angels. And as well, not only is Dio in the first couple of minutes of the movie, young Jables' father is none other than Meatloaf himself. Yeah, they actually got Meatloaf because this is when he was trying to be, an actor, and this is actually the first movie he's sung in since the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and he was Meatloaf was very hesitant to actually take on this role because he didn't want to. He wanted to be an actor. He wanted to be known as an actor and not as Meatloaf. He didn't want to sing and all that, but yet he did in this. And for the small bit that he's in, he's amazing. And yeah, so fast forwards now to when Jables is grown up. He meets Kyle Gass, and they have a little back and forth, and it's the second song of the movie. And then at night, when after Jables gets beaten up, Kyle witnesses this and brings him back into his apartment. to join the Kyle Gas project, which is a bullshit thing. He's struggling to live out there. His parents are paying for paying checks for his rent by check and all of that, and so it's basically getting free labor out of JB for um to potentially join the Kyle Gas project. And after he gets found out and JB breaks his guitar, he gets a new guitar, and so they decide instead of giving up the apartment and JB being homeless and then Kyle moving back in with his parents, they decide they'll win a battle of the bands to get money. Essentially, it's not necessarily a battle of the bands, but it's similar to a battle of the bands. So they're trying to write this really great song that will get them to win. And then Kyle notices that a lot of the famous guitar players, they all have the same pick, and so they go and search for it, and that's when no other than Ben Stiller shows up in this movie. He plays someone who works in a guitar shop, and they gave him big curly hair and like a lot of fake tattoos, but he looks like a genuine rocker, and I love it. I absolutely love the look they get Ben Stiller in this movie. And Ben then, of course, his character fills the guys in on the history of the Pick of Destiny. That at one point, this sorcerer in medieval times spawned the devil. They fought, not going well in the sorcerer's favor. Then a blacksmith comes, throws a horseshoe at the devil, chips his tooth, and then they send the devil back to hell, where he will remain until he is complete again. And then the sorcerer changes the devil's tooth into the Pick of Destiny, and it's been handed down from guitarist to guitarist, famous guitarist to guitarists. Like, it's this unknown band. They were shredding, didn't know what they had. They flicked the pick into the crowd, and Johnny Van Halen picks it up, and that spawns Van Halen. And then it, of course, gets passed down to from band to band to band. And then it turns out it is now currently residing in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So, with a week left to this big concert yoke, the two guys decide to then drive off to go essentially steal the Pick of Destiny so that they can win and become massive rock gods. And after a pit stop, which has Amy Palmer as a waitress, Kyle talks to these college girls, says that they're about to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They get invited to this party, but JB is still on dead set on getting the Pick of Destiny. And that's when someone shows up that it took me a while to recognize. As a kid, I didn't recognize him. In my about 10, 11, I didn't recognize him because I hadn't seen the movie yet. And it is none other than the actor who plays Andy Dufresne in The Shawshank Redemption. I'll probably have his name somewhere on screen because I've forgotten the actual actor's name. But yeah, he's in this. He plays a stranger, and he gives JB some advice on how to break into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And then the band split because Kyle wants to go sleep with some college girls. Dude's in his 30s, 40s at this point. And JB goes off to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and to get the pick. So at this point, as I said, the story splits into two parts. One where Kyle Gass doesn't do that well because the song he went to sing, the history of the band, needed JB for the actual main singing parts, and so he goes off then to rejoin the band because he misses his friend. And Jables, well, he whilst in the forest, he eats magic mushrooms and goes on a weird ass trip where he meets the Sasquatch, which, again, I did not know was played by John C. Riley. Um, yeah, played by John C. Riley. Did not know because I couldn't even tell as well when I was rewatching it because of the makeup that they had on him. Couldn't tell it was him. Even the voice. Normally I would recognize John C. Riley because he is one of my favorite actors, and couldn't even recognize him until I actually looked up the actual cast list. And so JB goes on this mad weird trip, and once he comes out of it, he's not too far away from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He goes there, he breaks in, runs into Kyle. The two then get the pick of destiny. They make their way back after a car chase because early on, as Kyle was driving off to go to this party, JB threw a rock and busted the headlights on his car. So as they were getting pulled over, instead of just dealing with that, Kyle decides to run from the police, and that, of course, brings a car chase, which they barely get out alive. The car gets fucked, and they just go through the sewers. They get there, they have a fight over the pick. The pick breaks, and then none other than the devil shows up now that he is complete again, and the devil's played by Dave Grohl, and again, pretty amazing. They have a battle. The devil loses. He loses his horn, and he gets sent back to hell. And that's the end of the movie. And it is one of my favorite movies of all time. It is definitely up there. Like there's a lot of amazing, funny moments in this movie, um, and a lot of people that do watch it, they tend to love it. It's not, it might not be for everyone, but I definitely love this movie. It is one of my absolute favorites. As a kid, I absolutely loved it, and it's a shame that it actually never got a Blu-ray copy. The only way to really watch it is on DVD. Um, but still, it's an amazing movie. The soundtrack is amazing, and I'm so happy that I actually got to go see them live 3 years ago, and they were amazing live. And yeah, it's just a criminally underrated movie, and as I said, it is a fantastic musical because it technically is a musical when you think about it. And when you watch it, it takes a lot of cues from musicals, with songs happening every few minutes or so, or every 10, 20 minutes or so. There's always a new song. And yeah, it's amazing. I highly recommend it to anyone to watch it. Hell, I'd even recommend going on an LSD trip whilst trying to watch it, especially at that Sasquatch scene, because that's just one big trip. But yeah, that's been my review for Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny, one of my all-time favorite movies. And yeah, this is the last unscripted review, which I mentioned at the beginning of this month. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I can't remember what's coming out next. I think this is coming out on, yeah, I believe this is coming out on St. Patrick's Day, which, happy St. Patrick's Day. But yeah, I'll catch you all on Monday for the next upload.